Let's hope that doesn't happen again, but yeah, that was weird.
Hopefully.
Wait, why am I doing that? Okay, we're back. We're back, baby. But yeah, as I was saying earlier, so last April Fool's Day, I had like VN night around that time, and I found this terrible visual novel on Itch.io about like I don't remember the exact name. It was like a date at Olive Garden or something. Where you go with a guy to like Olive Garden to as like a date. And crazy stuff happens. And it was awful, and I forced everybody to play it last April Fool's Day. It was I literally like started the stream and had like the game up and everything, and I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. And everybody else was like flabbergasted. It was great. But yeah, Pasta still references it every once in a while.
No, of course.
Everybody else absolutely hated it, but Pasta did also find enjoyment out of it. But we
Of course.
we do have the same sense of humor.
Yes.
But yeah, it was a good time for me at least, and for Pasta. But yeah, hopefully that weird event that just happened won't happen again.
Yeah, I hope so.
That was very strange. I've never had that happen. The only time I've had that happen, actually, there was one time where I did have that happen. And it was for some reason while we were playing like Gmod a while back. In the middle of the stream, my computer just decided to restart. And I was like, what? But that's it.
It likes to do that.
Yeah, I know, not really, because wait, why is there loot boxes in Discord now?
That's been there for a while. For a couple of days.
Ah, I see. Open a new box. Let's see what I get. I got a speed boost.
Wow.
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 What does that do for me?
I think it's what you can use on the server.
Oh, maybe. I've never done any of the speed boost stuff. I know Thomas does it to Sushi Cord server. But I've never messed around with any of that stuff. But yeah. I hope Rolf's still here. I don't know if he knows that the stream has come back, that we're no longer dead. Wait, I'll add him in the server to let him know.
Well, I did tell him what happened.
Yeah.
but I don't know if he read it, so.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, I'll load up. Oh, shoot, yeah. I need to use my controller. I keep trying to use my mouse, and I'm like, why can't I do anything?
Why did I do anything?
Yeah. Wait, there we go.
Okay, Rolf
Yee.
said, I'll be back in the chat.
Heck yeah. Yeah, we finally have the whole squad here.
Oh no, Asher isn't here.
That is true. That is true.
Where's Azure?
We should add him as well. Be like, get in here. I'm thinking we'll just start with Kano for now until
Okay.
we gotta switch, and then we'll switch to the next person and the next person and the next person. Let me at Azure. Be like, get in here, Azure. You're stinky. Amazing.
You attached to that faster.
It's because I'm typing with one hand right now. Because the other is holding the controller.
You do know you can put a controller down, right, Anya?
Yeah,
and
I know.
Won't get hurt.
I know. But I'm always worried. Okay.
Are you that do you have no object permanence that
No, I don't mean that. I mean, I did try putting it down, and that's what, like, started the game when I didn't really mean to start the game.
This controller restarted my computer, and now I'm like, I can't leave it alone, otherwise it'll do it again.
Exactly. Gotta keep it in check. Anyways, I love the shot of Kano just like standing lost in the middle of Shibuya. Being like, oh, I lost the guy, what do I do now? Man, Kano, his life really changed a lot after he was beat up by a Super Sentai group.
Yeah.
The Resident Evil camera angle. Exactly! It is very Resident Evil. As he wandered through the back alleys, Kano gritted his teeth. I gotta get out my dick note. Going after the guy on the bike had been a bad judgment call. By the time he got back up onto the pedestrian overpass, the man who'd thrown the attaché case was almost out of sight. Kano prided himself on being fleet of foot, but he knew even he would never catch the guy before he disappeared. He'd followed the culprit as far as the alleys, but there he'd lost him completely. All he could do now was hope one of his colleagues caught the man on the motorcycle. Kuze's voice crackled through the earpiece. Mobile Command Center calling all units. The suspect on the motorcycle is headed off the case to an accomplice in Miyashita Park. Another foreigner. For real? Kano muttered. Wait, how did they know that was happening when we were the only ones following what was going on over here? How did the other police officer... I guess they have cameras.
Yeah.
Oh, they're really waiting for us to pan over before we continue onward. I hit the A button to continue, and all it's doing is panning.
Dramatic.
Yeah. Game? Okay, there we go. One thing immediately struck him as strange. Why hand the case off to someone else at all? Why not just escape on the bike? The motorcycle dumped the bike and fled on foot. We've retrieved the bike and run the plate, and we've determined it was a stolen vehicle.
I think it was square. Or X. Or...
No, that's
Nope.
X.
Or what?
Oh, I guess we're starting over.
Gosh, darn it.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I got this. I got this. We'll figure it out. Blah, 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 blah. It's been too long. I forgot all the controls. Blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Okay. That's your start button.
Yeah.
B is cancel. X was obviously the timeline stuff. Triangle or Y? Okay, just go to controls.
Yeah. Controls. Let's see.
What controller do you have?
I have the Xbox. It's like a Xbox controller. You need to hold for speed up, confirm.
Yeah, so that should have been X.
Yeah, that's weird. It didn't do it. Why is it doing autoplay? It should be doing... What? What? Why is it doing that? It should not be doing that. Oh, there's a summary screen. Hello, game. No. What the frick? Why? Because I'm pressing Y and it's doing, and by Y it's X on the screen. Why is it doing this?
Oh, you need to press up and down first. Or not.
Or maybe it's because I already missed it. Let me click back in here.
No.
Nope, I'm pressing up and down, and it's not doing anything.
Well, it'd be up and down and X. Nope. Yeah, that should show the tip, so I don't know.
Yeah, it should be...
Words and phrases in blue can be highlighted by pressing square, which would be X on the controller, and then which should take you, and then pressing X, that would take you to the tip screen.
Yeah, and
Or
like none of this
A.
was a problem last time, so I don't understand. Because it was working just fine last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this takes me back to this screen. It keeps, like... Maybe if I unplug and replug... Now it's not even reading my controller at all.
Oh, great.
I'm gonna restart the game, I think, and hope that that fixes it. Today is like a bad luck day, I guess. Everything that could go wrong is going wrong. And it's on Xbox controller. What the actual heck? It's like every second the controls keep changing. What? Now it works!
Well, you're not streaming it to me anymore.
Oh, shoot, yeah, hold up. I guess, like, turning it off and turning it back on worked. I don't know why it wasn't working before, but my controls have changed again.
Stolen vehicle. The advanced police communication system is carefully maintained. By using the digital wireless systems in the patrol cars, officers are able to directly access the station's computer network, allowing them to quickly check to see if an individual is on the wanted list or a vehicle is stolen. Totally worth it. But also, if it didn't work, we wouldn't have been able to choose options and shit, so especially to change endings. So it's better that we saw this out now.
Yeah, it's good that we sorted it out. I don't know why it was acting so bizarrely. Maybe it, like, even though it was set to Xbox, it was trying to do, like, a PlayStation controller. And maybe, like, because I, like, deliberately went in to hit Xbox, it changed.
No. Did you have the controller in when you inserted when you restarted your computer?
Yeah.
Then that's why.
Oh, okay. So I had to do
it doesn't register it.
I see. So I had to plug it, like, re-plug it back in and restart it and everything.
Yeah, it's really stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've encountered it a couple of times, so
yeah.
Anyway, read.
Yeah. We still don't have enough details to positively ID the suspect. The suspect, now carrying the attaché case, is heading through Dogenzaga also on foot. We've got him under observation. Dogenzaga, huh? That wasn't too far from where Kano was now. I love that Kano is just, like, running around. He's gonna, like,
Also, I think you had the wrong voice.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to be all like...
Yeah.
I was so flabbergasted from everything that had happened.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm imagining that, like, for the whole entire game, it's just gonna be Kano running around Shibuya to all the different areas of Shibuya. And that's gonna be, like, the entire day is him running. It looks like we're dealing with a foreign crime syndicate that's familiar with Shibuya. All units, head to Dogenzaga. But do not, I repeat, do not attempt to apprehend the suspect with the case. Let's see where he goes. Kano nodded to himself. Without knowing more about the crook's M.O., letting this guy go for now was probably the only right call. I just want you to know one last thing. Kuzo's tone grew even more solemn. Whatever happens, I know I can count on each and every one of you. Don't disappoint me. Over and out.
That's his solemn voice.
Yeah. Yep. Kano had the unsettling feeling that the message had been meant for him. Kano has, like, 0% confidence. Like, I love that all of the endings so far have just been him being like, wow, I messed up. Guess I'm quitting forever.
Sounds familiar.
Oof. Right, it's now or never. The sudden appearance of the syndicate and its bizarre actions were rapidly moving things beyond the jurisdiction of both the MPD and the local police. Mustering his resolve, Kano headed for Dogenzaga. Kano pulled his cell phone out of his pocket. It was Rumi calling. She knew full well he wasn't supposed to take private calls while he was working a case. Maybe it was an emergency? He decided to pick it up. Rumi?
I'm sorry. Are you in the middle of something right now?
Kind of. Is this an emergency?
Oh, well, yeah. So I'm in Shibuya right now, and...
Shibuya? Why did she have to be in Shibuya now, of all times?
So, my father came down from Nagano all of a sudden.
What?
Nagano?
Yeah. Rumi's father, Shizuo, had been staunchly opposed to the two of them getting married. Kano had visited his home many times, but the man had never even deigned to meet him.
Deigned.
Yeah, deigned.
He told me to tell you he wants to meet with you.
What? Now? That face he's making. Kano blurted the words out with more alarm than he'd intended.
I told him you were busy working, but he said he'd wait.
This can't be happening, Kano whispered to himself.
I'm sorry. I know he can be demanding.
That's not the issue. Her dad offering to wait made it harder for him to refuse. All right, Kano said, but I'll have to call you back later, okay?
I really am sorry.
Yeah, this is like weird music for this. It's like, ooh, we're gonna be meeting the daddy.
Not sexy music. This is a silly situation in the middle of this all this drama.
Yeah.
I really am sorry. I'll be at a cafe called Lautrec. It's by the train station.
Rumi hung up. For a long moment, Kano stood in a daze, staring at his phone. Yeah, sex is pretty silly.
Anya, how would you know?
As if keeping up with the
It's
case
pretty
wasn't
exhausting.
stressful enough. At last he stumbled into motion, but even as he scoured Dogensaka for any sign of the criminal, his mind remained fixed on the meeting with Rumi's dad. Poor Kano. There was no way of knowing when he'd be done with his casework today. But could he really pass up on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get her father's approval for her hand in marriage?
Odds are that this will not be the only once-in-a-lifetime experience Detective Kano winds up having today. Ooh.
Maybe he could slip away for just a bit. There were plenty of detectives still tailing the suspect. Taking 50 minutes or so to meet with Shizuo wouldn't be such a big deal, would it?
It's so interesting that we go from these endings where he's like so disappointed that he lost this guy and whatever, to him be like, surely I can leave this stuff to the other detectives while I go do this random thing right now.
Exactly. I don't know.
You can pick either one, you can always go back and fix it. So
I feel like I'm just trying to think which one is the bad ending one. Like, this one is probably the bad ending, but like, so far the game has actually kind of surprised us a couple times with what was actually
surprised you.
Yeah, surprised me, I should
And
say.
Rolf.
Yeah. Because Rolf like picked that one choice early on about like chasing after the suspect, and we both thought that that would be the wrong answer, that we should have stayed behind like we were told. But it turned out that chasing the suspect was the right answer, and that was the answer that leads to continuing forward. So I'm like, I don't know which one's the bad ending. I think this one is probably the bad ending.
WWKD.
Lesson learned, never listen to orders. Exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna pick this one. It's now or never, Kano decided. His future happiness depended on winning over Shizuo. He might not have the opportunity later if the kidnapping case wound up going south. He'd just have to make sure he didn't linger too long. He was trying to decide the best way to save as much time as possible when he caught sight of a taxi passing by. He stepped out into the street to flag the cab down, and then he got hit by a car, and that's the end.
He got the perfect excuse to avoid the meeting.
Yeah, exactly. I got hit by a car. I'm sorry. The station wasn't too far away, but it would be faster to take a car than run there. The taxi screeched to a halt. careful, buddy, shouted the cab driver through the open window. You're gonna get yourself killed. Looking more closely, Kato saw that there was already someone in the back seat. Well, crap. He had considered that the cab might already be taken. Still, he didn't have time.
Well, no shit.
Yeah.
You're the one who stopped it while it was still driving. Hey, look,
Yeah.
KFC.
Wait, where? Oh, yeah, right there. Oh, it's a KFC.
Japan loves the KFC.
And so do I. I'll always be a KFC defender.
Delicious.
Still, he didn't have time to wait for another to come along. Kano leaned in close to the back door of the taxi. Wait, are we actually was that the right choice? Because this feels like learning something important. Please, I need you to let me have this cab. Beggars could be choosers after all.
No way.
Sapped the passenger. He didn't seem the genial type. Please, I'm begging you here.
Look, I'm in a hurry, pal. Get your own cab.
I love the gas mask or whatever that this guy has.
Those are goggles.
Are they? I thought it was a
Yeah.
gas mask.
No.
I know how ridiculous this must sound, but please. This is really, really urgent.
Urgent?
Yes, it's a matter of life or death. Please.
Look, I'm sorry, but I'm dealing with something urgent here too.
Then let me ride with you. I'll pay for the whole fare. My entire future's on the line here.
Sorry, buddy.
The time that you're spending trying to get into this car is wasting the time you could have been
Could
spending
have
walking.
gone there already.
Yeah, you could have walked over to the
He
station.
thought about all of this. He could have just walked.
Yeah. It's life or death on my
Sorry.
end too. Oh wait, no, that's you.
I was already saying the line when you interrupted, woman. Sorry, buddy. It's a life or death of my end too. I gotta look after me and mine.
Kind of could see this was going nowhere. Right. So sorry to trouble you. Kano stepped back in frustration. The taxi sped away. Kano scanned the area, looking for other cabs. Instead, he spotted the man with the attaché case! I can't believe this! I keep picking the answers that I think is gonna be wrong, and it's the right answer. It was a stroke.
This is why you're a protagonist.
It was a stroke of dumb luck, but Kana wasn't going to lose sight of him now. I mean, that is very much the thing is like protagonists are always kind of stumbling their way through the story.
Yes, Anya.
Making dumb choices that turn out to be the right choices. He decided to follow. Further up along Dogensaka, in the direction the perp was heading, was where Yamate Dori joined Route 246. Maybe the guy was planning to meet up with a getaway car? No. Wait. Hold on. If that were the
Let me
plan...
get my dick note.
Yeah, let me get my dick note. Why would the gang have ditched the motorcycle earlier? Kano started tailing the man, racking his brain all the while. The suspect turned down a narrow side road. He wasn't heading toward Yamamate Dori or Route 246 at all, but back towards Shibuya Station. What in the world was going on? It was starting to feel like the crooks were just messing with the investigation team. Maybe it's like multiple cases? Kind of like a Thomas Crown affair situation.
Ooh.
Kano radioed Kuze on the wireless.
The police wireless system is digital in order to make transmissions, not transitions, more difficult to intercept. There are several different channels available, including the basic local channel, a common channel for contacting other nearby patrol cars, channels assigned to specific precincts, action update channels for right squads, and so on. There is also separate channels specifically for kidnapping cases, not on standard wavelengths.
Sir, I don't think there's any point in seeing where this guy leads us anymore. That's not your call to make! Keep watching him! Sir, this is a waste of time. That girl might be in danger if... Kano's argument was cut short as he saw the man hand off the attaché case to yet another foreigner. Again? How many times are these criminals going to pull this trick? The detectives broke into two groups to follow both of the men. Kano followed the man with the attaché case who eventually led him back to the area around Shibuya Station. Rumi and Shizuo should be waiting at a nearby cafe right now. Kano tried to remember the name. That's right, it was called La Trek.
The name of the cafe where college student Ryoko Kakinuma works as a waitress, named after the 19th century French painter Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec. He created numerous works, including many posters, book illustrations, and book covers, which are highly regarded in the art world.
He kept his eye out for a place by that name as he tailed the target. Before long, he did spot the cafe. Its large plate glass window offered a view of the cozy interior. The sign out front read, La Trek. Looked like this was the place. The man with the case was at the intersection waiting for the light to change. Kato took the opportunity to peer inside. He spotted Rumi right away. She was facing away from him. So the man seated across from her must be her father. Kato realized he'd never even seen a picture of him. Shizuo grew organic produce up in Nagano nowadays, but until 2 years ago, he'd been a detective with the investigation division.
And that's why Kano, it's like, oh, I don't want to meet with this guy.
Yeah.
MPD Investigative Division, responsible for handling crimes such as murder, kidnapping, and arson that take place within the Tokyo metropolis. Truly exceptional officers are assigned to this division. They are regularly dispatched to various regional task forces to aid investigations, where their talents and experience often prove critical. The position of section chief is traditionally given only to dedicated personnel, well versed with crime scenes and organizational administration. I read it all.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. I was like, did you hear me?
Yeah, I did hear. No worries.
Okay, cool.
My mom came in to show that she fixed up my dress for me. One of my dresses.
Aww.
Yeah. Oh, it's a new one. Oh, thank you. It was a new dress. It was like because my old purple dress that I had got ruined after like some spill got on it that literally could not come off.
No.
So, but luckily, my mom found a new one and got it for me because she's the best.
Aw, she's the best.
Yeah. Rumi looked up to her father for his distinguished police career and always spoke quite highly of him. Kano had figured that if he became a policeman, Rumi might appreciate that. It was this simple impulse that had led him to join the force. He had also figured that public servants could stay afloat even in times of recession, and that his physical training would serve him well in such a line of work. Once he was a policeman, he thought he could approach Shizuo with his head held high and ask for his blessing in marrying his daughter. But after Ruby graduated from university, Shizuo had up and retired for police work. Even Rumi didn't know why he'd made the decision. Kano had traveled to Nagano many times to ask Shizuo for permission to marry her, but the only response he ever got was, "I'm not giving away my daughter to any cop." You know what? He's based. He's based. He knows. He knows. He's like, I was a part of all that shindig. I know the truth.
I know the ACAB.
He's like, I was literally a part of it, which is why I know they can't be. Yeah, I know they can't be trusted. All cops are pigs, including me.
Yeah.
Kano had never even got past the intercom before her father turned him away. Years on the force had nearly made Kano lose sight of what had driven him to become a policeman in the first place, and now the chance to meet Shizuo face to face had finally come. He peered intently into the cafe. Across from Rumi sat an older man with a grim expression. Just who was this hard-faced fellow? It took a lot.
Who else would it be?
Yeah. It took a lot to rattle Kano.
You literally said it was him.
Yeah. But the guy looked scary. I don't think it takes a lot to rattle Kano at all.
Or you.
Yeah. Could this really be his sweet little Rumi's father? The prospect of meeting with him later filled Kano with sudden dread.
This is why the Yakuza and the cops are very closely related, because they seem to share the same people.
Yep. Yep. I mean, that's the case everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, the man went into the JR Shibuya station and stood before the ticket machine. It looked like he was planning on boarding a train. A scene from a popular movie about a kidnapping sprang into Kano's mind, where the crook had made off with the ransom money after it was tossed out the window of a train. What if this guy managed to get inside the dragnet and pull a stunt like that? It looks like the suspect is going to board a train, Kano informed Kuze over the wireless. Make sure you stay on his tail! Apparently Kuze still wanted to string the perp along for a bit. We've got the lizards ready to pursue. The lizards?
Japanese police lingo for motorcycle squads deployed to pursue suspects in urban settings.
I actually did not know this. This is a new thing for me.
So it's basically like they can do camouflage and also like slip into crevices and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the motorcycle helmets basically are like very nice facial cover.
I see. We'll establish our dragnet around whatever station he gets off at. The man purchased a ticket from the machine and passed through the gate. There was no way to tell what station he bought a ticket for, but it looked like he was heading clockwise along the Yamanote line loop. Kano used his prepaid card and made his way through the ticket gate as well.
I just took my meds.
No
Officers
worries.
do not actually get free rides on public transportation simply by flashing their badges. As is frequently depicted in TV shows and films, they do it by bribing instead. Doing so might risk alerting the suspect. For this reason, prepaid cards are provided ahead of time.
Yeah.
So you still get it for free.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, makes sense. Gotta get around somehow. And I mean, for a lot of people, like, even if you're not, like, on the force, you would still have to pay with your own money, but getting a card that's, like, has money already on it is pretty typical, I think. Because I remember when I was
I
in...
I wish they would do that for our fucking washing machine.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of having to get a pound coin out.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, like when I was in London, I had an Oyster card that you could put money on it, and that would allow you to just like use the subways without having to
Yes.
like pay a separate thing each time. You would just use your card that already had money put on it. And there was so much money that was on it that never got used because I was just walking around everywhere because I didn't trust the system. I was very confused by it. And now it's switched.
Anya's gone against the system since
Yeah,
she's been young.
it's true. But nah, it's like if you, for anyone who has never been in the London underground subway, it's crazy. Like that place is a maze. It's literally a maze. I'm like, I don't know where anything is, and there's signs everywhere telling you where to go, and I still don't know where to go.
And there will be people that will try to scam you and take your money, etc., by being friendly.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, that's why I was literally almost everywhere I went in London. I just walked. Like I walked everywhere. Like the only times I used it was when like we specifically for certain days would go as a group to somewhere like kind of far off. Then we actually used the transportation, but otherwise I always walked everywhere. Even if it was kind of a ways away. An announcement chimes signaled the imminent arrival of a train up on the platform. The man made his way up the stairs, looking calm and composed. He showed no sign of checking for pursuers. Kano hurried after him. The man stopped at the very edge of the platform to await the... Oh, no.
Jump.
I don't like that, because usually when you see people standing that close to the edge, it's not a good sign.
Especially in Japan, where
Yeah.
that's the highest form of doing that.
Yeah. To await the train. I remember even in London, like waiting for the train, like there's like they had painted along the side of the thing to show that you should not stand this close to the edge, that you should stand
They
a little
have
bit.
it at all the train stations.
Yeah. Yeah, like that. Well, he's not at the very edge. He's like
Not
at
at
a
the
regular.
edge.
Yeah, like what? What is
regular length? Like there's people around that corner that are near that part too.
Yeah, what
What
the
are
heck?
you talking about?
When they said that, I was imagining him be like right there at the very end, but no, he's at a regular place.
Yeah.
The man stopped at the very edge of the platform. Not ideal. There was no way for Kato to get close without sticking out like a sore thumb.
I guess.
The train glided up to the platform. The man gave a quick look around as he stepped aboard. Kano followed. Trains on the Yamanote line didn't stop for long, and soon they were on their way. Oh, look at that guy! Do you see that guy? With the hair? That's incredible. Oh, wait, no, that's a person behind it. I thought that was his hair.
Dingus.
I thought it was his hair. I was like, what the heck? I thought that was his hair.
That would have been amazing, though.
Glancing around, Kato noticed other MPD investigators who had slipped aboard the train as well.
One with really wild hair.
Yeah. The suspect stood behind the driver's compartment, staring contemplatively at the scenery outside. The man's composure only served to rattle Kano more. A man in a gaudy necktie walked past Kano, talking on his cell phone.
Yes, everything's going fine on this end.
He said.
There's no need to worry.
In his other hand, he carried hand. On his other hand, in his other hand, he carried the same sort of attaché case as the man they were tailing. He headed right towards the driver's compartment and stood next to the suspect. Well, now, that's not suspicious. Kind of leaned his head subtly, straining to make out what he could of the phone conversation at the other end of the car. Yeah.
Yes, of course. 225 pages, all fully proofread.
225?
Oh god, is this gonna be about the dick note?
Yeah.
No. Article 225 of the Penal Code Japan details kidnapping for profit and kidnapping for ransom. Accordingly, 225 is police shorthand for kidnapping. Do you think he's actually talking about a book? Or do you think that it is police jargon?
I don't know. It could be either or. It could be that Kano's like overthinking this and he thinks that the guy is like, and is just some dude, you know, who's caught up in the middle of this. But at the same time, it could be like him, like being a part of whatever's going on here, and they're about to like switch the cases here, like his case and that guy's case. Or maybe they're talking, I don't know. We'll have to see. Is this guy in cahoots with the kidnapper? Maybe the criminals had played an attaché case swap. I don't like the fact that Kano and I are having the same thought process. I don't like it. Kano watched the newcomer like a hawk. But rather than making contact with the suspect, the man turned around and strolled back the way he'd come. He hadn't done anything suspicious at all.
Yes, right. Uh-huh. Understood.
Kano stole a glimpse of the man's face as he passed. He stopped and looked at Kano, seemingly aware he was being watched. Kano decided to... Why would I stare him down? Wouldn't it be better to look away nonchalantly?
Pick one.
Kano decided to look away nonchalantly. But his anxiety got the better of him, and after a moment, he turned his gaze right back. Soon, the two men were locked in a staring contest.
Oh, my apologies.
The man said. He shut his phone with a click.
I know it's rather rude to talk on one's cell phone when you're on a train. That's just common decency.
The man affected a smile, then headed back to the car for which he'd come. Sheesh. Guess I overreacted. What the frick?
You gotta stop staring at everyone.
An oddly dressed passenger murmured into Kano's ear. Like, what the frick is with this shirt?
Oh, this is the... Yep.
Wow! Why is he wearing this? Also, I love this duo so much. These two are great.
Yeah. Blending your surroundings more.
Sasayama, what'd you get here? Just imagine him like popping in, like, hello, I'm here now.
He's teleported.
His partner had somehow found time to change his disguise. I love these two.
It's been like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's been like 20, 30 minutes. Of course he found time.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
There's toilets on this train.
Yeah. These two are just so funny. I love them so
They
much. The steely expression on his face was at odds with his anime nerd getup. Like, basically, like, if we're gonna say that Kano is like me, but in the game, Kano is like an ENFJ, whereas Sasayama is like an ISTP, which is like the opposite of an ENFJ. The dynamics of an ENFJ and an ISTP are incredible. Yeah, I can only see part of the shirt and can't read the text, but it already looks cursed, says Rolf. Yeah. I think it's supposed to be that just like how he's wearing overalls, she's wearing overalls. It's very strange. Kano had seen Sasayama disguise himself as plenty of things throughout the years.
It's quite rare for Sasayama to actually wear a suit. And there are occasions when he does. He's walking the halls of his home precinct, and he frequently goes unrecognized. Here are some of Sasayama's costume designs from his evidence notebook. And you can press Y to play it.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Santa is a must for Christmas. Stakeouts with a smile.
Stakeouts with a smile. Keep presents in bag to calm down children in case of emergency.
Whoa, this goes fast.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Here we go.
So this is the outfit he's wearing currently.
Yeah.
Use this for train stakeouts, filled with posters and figurines. Glasses are crucial, because of course, every nerd wears glasses.
Yeah.
Don't forget awkward smile. Bag of merch, going too far? Yes. Prized possession, clutch to chest. Pointers to draw attention in crowded train cars. I guess so. Tragic expression. Disguise for stakeouts at dockside warehouses. Sunglasses. Suit and posture amplify wild animals. Let co-workers know beforehand so as not to be mistaken for real thing. Arrest crooks while practicing discipline. Might help to stop funeral robbers? Question mark. Handcuffs up sleeves. La. For nighttime stakeouts, hardcore material, plenty of exposure, emphasize bulginess in final version.
I love this man so much. Amazing. Chef, magician, samurai, and an astronaut, to name a few, but this was a new extreme, even for him. When he first joined the force, Kano had found Sasayama's costuming antics amusing, wondering where he managed to find his outfits, but lately his quirk had become tedious.
You like the ocean?
Heck yeah, Rolf. Heck yeah. Also, hi, Mew. Welcome to the stream. How's it going?
Hello.
How are you doing, Mew? I love ya. Oh, wait. I should... There we go. Huh?
Never mind.
Sasayama pulled a small bottle from his breast pocket.
Look at this while you can. Guessing you haven't eaten.
Huh? What's this?
The least I could do.
He ate a cut of the bottle, then slipped away into the next compartment.
Bye.
He'd pulled an all-nighter and hadn't eaten, so he was glad to have something. He took a sip. Whatever it was bland. It almost didn't taste like anything. Just what had Sasayama given him? Probably an energy drink.
Yeah.
What the heck? Anything's better than nothing. He brought the bottle to his lips and chugged the contents down. He suddenly got a massive head rush. He felt a heat like a burning that spread from his insides throughout his whole body. No, that wasn't right. It was an ache. It was a ferocious ache. A burning that spread from his insides to his fingertips. And there was pain. A numbing that spread from his insides all the way down to his toes. Burning, aching, hurting. Burning, aching, hurting.
And this is the point he ends up being in King Ucha.
Yeah. This is what leads to him becoming a god.
Yes.
Twitchy, itchy, dizzy, sleepy, chilly, willy-nilly. This was not good. This was super duper not good. He broke into a cold sweat, his forehead drenched, his body damp and clammy all over. He felt his grip on consciousness slipping. Sasayama, what the hell did you do to me? With bleary eyes, he squinted to read the writing on the bottle. Burn? After a scant few letters, Kano blacked out. Wow! Bad end!
The least he could do.
Oh, okay, so this is... Yeah, so this is like, we have to play as Tama.
Yep.
And free... So, I guess we've been making right choices then. I haven't been making wrong choices. I can't believe this. I'm trying to make the wrong choices, and the game's like, nuh-uh, you're making the right choices. Okay. So should we go to Tama or just go in a circle like this?
That is up to you. Because every timeline will affect the next one, so...
Yeah. So, let's check out what the... Whoa! The guy was like, woo! The Super Cub 90 raced down Route 246 towards Shibuya.
A motorcycle produced by Honda with an 85cc engine displacement, a common sight around town, often used by newspaper and postal delivery workers. Many owners are big enthusiasts, sometimes even swapping up parts such as the handlebars or mufflers and giving the body repaint, resulting in fashionable bikes that don't even look like Super Cubs at first glance.
Whoa! The speedometer remained at a steady 60 kph. Kilometers per hour. Pumping the gas harder was no use. This was as fast as the bike would go. Minoru Minorikawa shouted as he sped along.
Damn it, I'm gonna die.
He jerked the handlebars and blew past a truck on the inside. The driver scowled at him as he shot by. You
made it! Oh, never mind.
You maniac! You try to get yourself killed!
Just the opposite.
Minorikawa shouted back.
I'm saving lives.
The stoplight ahead turned red, cutting him off at the intersection. I can't believe he's supposed to be Robert Redford.
Oh, come on.
He had no choice but to slam on the brakes. But his agitation boiled over as he waited for the signal to change again.
How long will this thing gonna stay red? Hurry up already.
He brought the bike right up to the very edge of the line, keeping the engine revved like a dragster ready to peel out.
Not a time. It's not in my dictionary.
I turned red. Then Minorikawa's own light turned green at last. He hit the accelerator as hard as he could.
Ugh.
His engine died with a sputter.
Huh? Oh, come on. What the hell?
Car horns blared angrily behind him. In a fury, he pulled his bike over to the side of the road. No matter what he did, the engine refused to turn over. Was the problem with the spark plug? Or maybe the battery? Whatever it was, he didn't have time to figure it out now. With tears in his eyes, he left the bike, his companion of 10 years abandoned on the roadside. He was about to break into a run when he saw a taxi dead ahead letting out a passenger. He hurried to hop into the cab.
Just head for Shibuya Station. I'll let you know exactly where once we get closer.
The taxi driver nodded coolly. Of course, sir.
10 minutes.
I
need to be there in 10 minutes.
The driver grimaced. I'm afraid getting there in 10 minutes is a bit...
15 then.
Sir, that's still...
Look, that's all the time I can afford.
Assuming traffic conditions cooperate, sir, then maybe. I can't make any promises. Minorikawa looked at the driver's ID photo above the fare meter. His name was Hachiro Kimizuka. He was a middle-aged fellow, looked a little rough around the edges.
Mr. Kimizuka, I choose you for this. I choose you. You can do it.
Chose me, sir? I'm pretty certain we met by chance.
Okay, sure. I suppose you could phrase it that way. Anyhow, can we get going?
Right, Kimizuka said with a faint sigh. I'll see what I can do. The taxi pulled away at a decent clip. Oh, is this the car that gets stopped? Minorikawa's frantic journey had started 20 minutes earlier. He'd been at home working on an interview piece. He clucked his tongue in annoyance as the ringing phone broke his train of thought. Why did someone always call right when the words were flowing? If he didn't keep getting interrupted, he probably could wrap this piece up in no time.
Very quiet.
He pointed at the telephone as he yelled.
I'm riding here.
But his shouting did nothing to silence the ringing. He didn't have much choice but to pick it up.
Minorikawa speaking.
Is he supposed to be a reporter?
Yes.
Nice. There was no response.
Hello?
He hesitated, ready to hang up. Was this a prank call? Who's this? Toyama. It's me, it's Toyama. Oh. It's me, it's Toyama. It was Teruo Toyama, the president of Heaven Publishing.
A publishing company that puts out both hard-hitting non-fiction books and tabloid-style scandal rags. The Invisible Journalist, penned by company president Toyama himself, was a candidate for the Japan Non-Fiction Prize. Oh, what do you want? This about work. I'm already booked pretty full.
He'd taken work from Heaven Publishing on several occasions, but the pay was hardly competitive. Lately, he'd been turning them down a lot, so he hadn't heard from Toyama in a while. No, this isn't work-related.
And what do you want? I'm kind of pressed for time here, working on the copy.
Norikawa was in no mood to beat around the bush. It seemed like every conversation he had with Toyama went like this. Ah, you're busy. That's good. Busy's good when you're a freelancer. Toyama sounded unusually sympathetic. Norikawa found it off-putting.
I think that's you.
I hear sales have been good on your end, he said cautiously. With this month's 4-star general gossip and all. No, I think that was him saying it to... whatever. 4-star general gossip was a monthly magazine, Heaven Publishing's flagship publication.
A magazine focusing on the private lives of celebrities and politicians. Most of the articles found on its pages are random nonsense, but 1 out of every 100 or so contains an actual major scoop, making it a difficult outlet to ignore.
It had small circulation, for the most part flew under the radar, but once in a while they'd land some big scoop and sell like crazy. This month's edition had come with a free scratch card, a gimmick that had moved 100,000 copies with ease.
5 winning symbols in a row wins 100,000 yen, was it?
Minorikawa asked. A weak, moist sound came through the receiver. Baffled, Minorikawa listened more closely. It came again. Then again. It kind of sounded like sobbing.
Is Toyama, are you crying?
There was another soft sob, and then yet another.
What's going on? Where are you?
Minorikawa asked. At the office, Toyama managed. He let out another mewling whimper.
What's the matter?
It's nothing.
It's gotta be something. Come on, what is it?
Toyama gave no reply.
Miss Toyama, are you still there?
Silence.
What is it? What happened? Look, don't tell me anything. What the hell is going on?
Toyama squeaked out a drawn-out whine.
Okay, I'm sick of this. I'm hanging up now.
Norikawa was about to break the connection when he heard Toyama murmur. The only thing I could do now is die. Yeah, here's Kano! The taxi lurched to a sudden stop as the driver slammed on the brakes. Minorikawa pitched forward, his face smacking against the back of the seat in front of him. Kimizuka stuck his head out the window. Careful, buddy, he shouted at someone in the street ahead. You're gonna get yourself killed. Minorikawa blinked the stars from his eyes and saw a man moving alongside the cab. The guy grabbed onto the handle of the back door. Please, I need you to let me have this cab.
No way.
Minorikawa snapped. Just who did this guy think he was? Please, I'm begging you here.
Look, I'm in a hurry, pal. Get your own cab.
I know how ridiculous this must sound, but please, this is really, really urgent.
Urgent?
Yes, it's a matter of life or death, please. The guy did look pretty desperate.
Look, I'm sorry, but I'm dealing something urgent here too.
Then let me ride with you. I'll pay for the whole fare. My entire future's on the line here. The guy sure was persistent. Maybe he was telling the truth, but Minorikawa had problems of his own.
Sorry, buddy. It's life or death on my end too. I gotta look after me and mine.
Right. So sorry to trouble you. Finally, the guy gave up and shuffled away. Guess it couldn't have been that much of a life-ending crisis after all. Minorikawa checked his wristwatch.
That just cost us 5 minutes.
I'll try to make it up, sir. The driver called back. I like that I've given him like a weird butler voice.
Yeah.
The taxi lurched into motion, the engine quickly revving up to speed.
Well, my voice from Minokara is a mix between Kermit and something else.
Yeah. What's
a Kermit and a Texan.
Yeah. Once inside the building, he avoided the elevator in favor of rushing up the stairs. Heaven Publishing rented out the 3rd and 4th floors. In all likelihood, Toyama would be at the editing department of 4-Star General Gossip on the 4th floor. When he got there, however, the door was locked.
Mr. Toyama! Hey, Mr. Toyama!
He shouted and banged, but there was no reply. Something was seriously wrong. Minorikawa took a deep breath and then kicked the door in. Whoa! The sight as he stepped into the office filled him with horror.
Whoa! Enrico 1 is playing Victorio!
Yeah. Minorikawa clutched the sides of his head.
I'm too late. Oh no! If only I'd gotten here a little sooner.
Thanks, Kano.
Yeah. It was really all Kano's fault.
Yep. Minorikawa rushed to Heaven Publishing as soon as he could, but he didn't get there in time to save Toyama. And sad to say, it was really all Kano's fault. Why does Kano want a taxi so badly? Check his 11:10 timestamp and the situation might become clearer.
Yeah, so we gotta go back and change it so that he's like, I gotta just focus on the job. Probably. Oh wait, no. Where is it?
It'll indicate when you got a choice. Like there.
Oh, here, yeah.
Yeah. You see those arrows?
Yeah.
That's where it is.
No, right now I've got a job to focus on. Kano shook his head to clear out the foolish impulses. What the hell had he been thinking? A girl's life was on the line. Marrying Rumi was more important to him than anything, but now wasn't the time. Besides, now that he thought about it, running out on a crucial investigation to meet with the old man probably wasn't going to score him any points. Rumi's dad did strike him as someone who'd approve of shirking one's responsibilities. Kano would just have to wrap up this kidnapping case a little ahead of schedule. Then he could have a proper sit-down with Shizuo. As he considered his plan, he caught sight of the man with the attaché case walking by.
And we have caught up to what happens when you choose the other choice.
Okay.
So, by choosing to go to the cafe, you screwed over somebody else.
Yeah. Amazing.
I don't think you have to continue on this. You can go back to the timeline.
Well, I want to see, like, it really... Oh, yeah, because we follow instead of trying to get the taxi. I see now.
Now go back to Minukawa. Choose that.
Yeah.
And when you know you've changed the timeline, it's no longer has bad end on the picture.
I see.
Now we can pretty much skip to the point where he's in the taxi, I think.
Wait. Blah 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 blah.
Dramatic music.
Yeah.
Sights.
Yeah. Silence.
Just the brightness.
The taxi tires squeal as the cab rounded a corner. The shift in momentum made Minorikawa topple over in the back seat. There we go. 10 minutes on the dot, the driver announced. Hey! Minorikawa righted himself and looked out the window, Shibuya Station.
I know you could do it, Mr. Kibizuka.
He told the driver how to get to Heaven Publishing. It shouldn't be more than 5 minutes further. Sir, if I may ask, just what are you in such a hurry over?
Son of a bitch.
I beg your pardon? Kimizuka bristled.
Not you. The guys who has been waiting on me, Morikawa said. I'm gonna give that son of a bitch a place in my mind.
The multi-tenant building where Heaven Publishing had its offices came into view. The taxi stopped outside. Minorikawa opened the door as he hurriedly reached for his wallet, then he stopped. What if the worst had come to pass and he needed to take Toyama to the hospital? Should he have the taxi wait here, or would it be better to call an ambulance? Sir, is there a problem? The driver asked. Probably wait here. I'll be right back.
Again, it's up to you.
Minorikawa was out of the cabin in an instant and running for the building. Once inside, he avoided the elevator in favor of rushing up the stairs. Heaven Publishing rented out the third. Blah, blah, blah. When he got there, however, the door was locked.
Mr. Toyama! Hey! Mr. Toyama!
He shouted and banged, but there was no reply. Something was seriously wrong. Minorikawa took a deep breath and kicked the door in. Oh, we got there just in time. Toyama was standing on a stool, about to slip his...
if you had chosen the other thing, then we would have gotten the same button.
Oh, good. Heck yeah.
If we took any longer in that taxi, then we would have found him dead.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Toyama was standing on a stool about to slip his head through a noose that hung from the ceiling.
What the hell are you doing?
Minorikawa lunged for Toyama. The two men crashed to the floor in a tangled heap. A pile of clutter slid off a nearby desk and fell on top of them. Minorikawa, what are you doing? Toyama whined. Dragging himself back to his feet proved something of a challenge.
That's what I'd like to know.
Minorikawa's fury was mounting.
What the hell is this all about?
He jabbed an accusing finger at the noose hanging from the ceiling. Oh, that. When the fluorescent lights died. And I was just swapping it out.
Don't you feed me that bull? What was that phone call all about? That business about how the only thing you could do is die? Tell me!
Just a joke. Toyama curled his lips
Bullshit.
into a faint semblance of a smile, yeah. And Norikawa wasn't buying it, but he didn't have time to press the issue. A cute little voice echoed through the editing office. Daddy! No, you go. A little girl came walking in, carrying a length of rubber gas tubing. It was Toyama's 5th grade daughter, Hana.
Teru Toyama's only daughter, currently 10 years old. The night Hana was born at Shibuya Central Hospital, there was an unexpected fireworks display outside the window of the maternity ward. As he looked out at the bursting rockets, Taro decided to name his daughter Hana, after the Japanese word for fireworks, Hanabi.
Yee.
Which is very cute.
Yee. Norikawa stared.
Toyama, you were planning to use that hose to...
Yeah, this got real dark. He hesitated to end his sentence with gas yourself to death.
Yeah, and the fact that he had Hana help him.
Yeah, is real messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Why can I just say, like, I really hate how, I mean, I know that, like, having good parents is, like, pretty
rare.
Yeah, pretty rare, but at the same time I feel like it's not helped by the fact that there isn't many good examples in media of like good parents. I feel like that doesn't help, because like, how are people supposed to know how they're supposed to act if both not only their own parents but also the parents that are shown on TV are all terrible? Like, at least like there's some good mothers, even though a lot of times they die. But with fathers, like, you never see good fathers usually. Like, it's like once in a blue moon there's a good dad.
Very rare.
Yeah, and I feel like the fact that, like, I always think about how the guy who made the Silent Hill movie basically was like, a dad would not care that much.
Get me started.
But what I'm saying
Let's
is
change him into a woman.
Yeah. But like that's exactly like the issue, I feel like, is that like there's sort of this idea now that like dads would never care that much about their kids. And I feel like it's not helped by media like portraying dads as always being kind of like absentee fathers or shitty fathers and whatnot. Like, I want more good dads.
I know that my dad was a shitty person, but it doesn't mean everybody's dad is like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like more dads would be better, like, in real life if there were
yours
more.
Is a little weird.
Yeah, he's weird, but he's a good guy.
Yeah.
But I feel like more dads would be better if there was more examples in media of dads being better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Movies
And
top.
also not yeah, from Rolf's example, like being a son means throwing a ball to your dad that's going off to get some milk,
Yep.
and being the daughter be something very fucking weird and
Yeah.
incesty.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always like some Freudian stuff going on there between
It's
daughters and
either
their
Freudian
fathers.
slip on one
Yeah.
end or it's adorable.
Yeah.
There is no in between.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like literally Silent Hill is one of the few times where like I can think of where dad was actually a good dad. Like that series, and then weirdly enough Glee.
He literally went into hell in order to save this girl. Like he ran this baby he found on a doorstep.
Yeah, exactly. And then another example I can think of is actually Glee, where for like basically in Glee, because I did watch Glee back in the day, sad to say, and most of Glee is awful, but there is like one of the main characters is gay, and like this was especially important for the time that Glee was coming out, because it was like one of the first shows to like really have like a main character that focused on that and like was treated fairly well for the most part. But also like his dad is like one of the best characters in the series. He's just like a good dad. And that's like the only two instances off the top of my head I could think of a dad being a good dad. Oh wait, no, I have a third instance. In Cardcaptor Sakura, the dad in that series is good as well.
And in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, even though Philip isn't his dad, Will's dad is actually a piece of shit.
Yeah.
An example of that. He feels more of a dad to Will than anybody
Yeah.
else, and he's actually a really good one.
Yeah. Oh wait, I have another good dad. Fire Emblem Three Houses, Gerald.
Yeah,
That's
I love
another
him.
good dad. Though sadly, well, I'm not gonna say it because
No,
spoilers.
that's spoilers.
But he's a good dad. So there are good dads, but definitely not as much as I would like to see in fiction. And I feel like it's become better in recent years too. Like a lot of the things that I'm thinking of are like recent examples. So I think it's something that's definitely like getting better.
There's a lot of them that are like can be bad guys to everybody else, but they treat their children really well.
Yeah. I honestly, I love that trope. I love the trope of like a character, and this is like in general, not even just as like a father, but I just love the idea of like, here's this evil person, but they're, a good dad or a good mom or a good boyfriend or a good girlfriend. Like, there's something about that.
It's the trope of even evil has loved ones.
Yeah, I love that trope. There's something like really special to me about that. Like, I don't know. It's a trope that I personally love very much with all my heart. And yeah, as Rolf pointed out, like another good thing about the Glee dad is that he's also very much like embodies a lot of the stereotypical like heterosexual man like tropes, but he's also just a good father and supports his son. And
would you say the dad in Twilight is, or
I would not. I think I would say that he is a good dad, but he's dealing with situations that he just is not equipped for.
Yeah.
I would put him on the good dad scale. He's just having to deal with stuff that no dad should have to deal with.
Like
Yeah.
with the Riverdale and
Yeah.
Archie's dad.
Yeah, Archie's dad is also a good dad. That's another good dad.
Eee.
Yeah. A good dad.
It's just...
Oh, wait! The OC! The dad in the OC is another good... I guess a lot of sitcoms have good dads, weirdly enough. A lot of sitcoms do. Because also Wizards of Waverly Place also had a good dad in it.
Yeah, Dom DeLuise.
Yeah.
You... And... definitely not that one. How I Met Your Mother, literally Marshall and Lily, that are just... They are not parents for a while, but they definitely are to the rest of the friends.
Yeah. Yeah, good male role models are pretty rare in media in general. Usually the best you get is uses violence against the right people. It's true.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yep, it's definitely a struggle. Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any more that like pops up into my head of like good dads.
The thing with that stuff is that either one parent is missing or the other one is, or both are.
Yeah, you never get like both
It's
parents.
very rare to have a proper, well, not proper, a whole family dynamic.
Yeah, because usually, like, even in the stories that I've mentioned where, like, the dad's good, the mom is, like, dead or gone or something. And then it's the other way around.
And then even rarer, you have, like, the two dads and the two moms.
Yeah.
That are the healthier relationships that we ever see.
Yeah. Uncle Iroh, but that's Uncle Iroh counts. I'll count him.
I already used Uncle Phil as an example.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It counts. But yeah, it's I've talked about and other people have talked about this too, about like why a lot of people who, like, for example, I watch a lot of stuff that involves like two guys getting together or whatnot, and a lot of guys do the same with girls. And there's been like some people who theorize that a part of it is because it's a way to kind of engage with like that part of your sexuality without dealing with the trauma and the baggage that comes from like heterosexual norms of having like pairings of like the guy and the girl, and like dealing with the baggage that entails, because you kind of inherently have some like power issues there just from the way our society functions. The Fujoshi. Let's go.
what I like especially is the different, because you have different writers for a lot of comics and stuff.
Yeah.
And I like the different storylines of Batman and Spider-Man stories, because both of them involve their parents either dying or disappearing.
Yeah.
And both will have like their dad or mom or both like went and did some bad things before they died or whatever, and they have to deal with the fact that their memory of them, because they were so young, doesn't fit their parents as people.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing in general that I think, even regardless of whether you have good or bad parents, that you kind of learn is that just like everybody else, your parents are human beings, and that means they're fallible and that they make mistakes, and they're just as fragile as you are. They also have fears and worries and traumas and issues, and that's like a part of growing up, is realizing that, like coming to terms with that you know, in the end you're not all that different from your parents, in the sense that they're not like these beings that are like better than you. They're just other humans like you. And it can be a little hard at first to come to terms with that, especially if you have like trauma about them as like kids, like whether they died or something like that. It can be hard to,
Especially as with Batman, like they literally sacrifice themselves to save him and each other. And I mean, they don't really go into it with Harry Potter. They kind of do through Snape and some others, like because of issues with James. But like, it kind of is like you have Batman just remembering them as the people that saved him and the good times that they had. And that's in general what grief does. You forget the bad times, if you even had any at all. And it's all you know these people by. So having that view shattered is just friggin' awful.
Yeah. Also, Rolf, it's definitely some of that, too, of, like, I'm attracted to this gender, 2 times that gender is twice as nice. Yeah, definitely there is some of that, too. I mean, like, just like with everything, it's more than one dimension to it. Like, we're complicated beings, so there's going to be, like, multiple reasons for it, and multiple different reasons for different people. But just that, like, what I mentioned earlier is kind of like one of several reasons. It's like a possibility. Though I will say that a lot of times, for me at least, when it comes to my ships, I usually do imagine myself as one of the characters in a sense, but not entirely. I think I talked to Azure about this before, but usually, like when I ship things, usually my ship is, here's a character that I relate to, and here's a character that is like the kind of character I'm attracted to, and that's my ship. And, but at the same time, like, it leads a lot of times to me relating. I mean, in general, the sad thing is that most of the time in fiction, I feel like I end up relating a lot more to male characters than female characters. Though I feel like a big part of that is because female characters, sadly, usually aren't as well written as male characters. Like, I went on a whole tangent with Azure one time talking about how, like, even now, even though we have made strides in, like, writing better and, like, having more diversity and stuff, it's still kind of an issue where the male characters in shows just tend to have like more dimension and more like nuance to their characters than the female characters do. And there's usually more male characters than female characters in shows as well. And so you can bind all those things together, and it's like it becomes a no-brainer that once again the character I relate to most in this show is a guy instead of a girl. And it like like a big part of why I was talking to Azure about it is because there was there's this person who does like the every year AO3 fanfic rankings and stuff to like see kind of like what are the biggest ships right now and all that. And basically the person who makes it has this theory that all the like scores and stuff that they were getting, like the rankings, showcase that there's still a lot of like sexism and racism within fandom because most of the ships are still two white guys together instead of having a lot of women or people of color. But the reason I had like a bit of an issue with that is because to me it kind of simplified the whole issue in that yes, sexism, racism is an issue within these shows, but it's not from the fandom perspective, because fandom is only a reflection of what is in the mainstream media. And so the sexism, racism is coming from the showrunners, the creators, the things that are leading to these mainstream shows. Like, of course, like, the biggest ships are going to be two white guys if most characters in shows are white guys. Like, that you're only getting what you have there. And to me, like, one of the biggest...
But you do have the opposite in that, where there is sexism within the fandom, whatever, because I remember all the issues people had with, oh my god, the Doctor is becoming a woman, or oh my god, Anne Boleyn is being played by an African American, or a British Jamaican, or whatever she was. Like, who the fuck cares?
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely
fiction.
Still... Yeah, it's fiction. It's like, it's not that big of a deal. But also, I do... Yeah, like, some of that definitely is there, too. But I feel like I see enough of people taking these characters... Like, I've seen so many fanfics that take these... Like, it's very surface level to look and say, like, oh, these characters are, you know... two white guys in canon, so everybody's portraying them that way. When in reality, all the time, like, I'll go on AO3 and look at ships that I like and whatnot, and so many of the fics are, like, end up reimagining the characters in some way, like, being like, what if they're both women? Or what if they actually aren't both white? Or what if one of the characters was trans? Like, there's so many fics that do that make me go, it's less cut and dry than just saying, like, oh, it's just like this.
It's like, I look at comic books and stuff, and comic book movies, and you can tell the people that don't read comic books that are fans of these series, because they complain, well, somebody's played by the opposite gender or whatever than they were to the last movie or whatever else, when it's like, do you realize comic books constantly have people of different genders, ethnicities, etc., taking on the mantle of this character, right? Like, it is a name.
Yeah.
It is an identity, not it. Like, Miss Marvel was somebody else.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Like people were.
Iron Man has been several different people.
Yeah. Like all the characters have been like taken on by different people at different times
multiple characters, like again, Miss Marvel, have had their names changed. Like Shazam, who was Captain Marvel, but then had his name changed later because it was a name that was used by a character in DC. So it's like, it's a constant thing that is shifting.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's the reason why also specifically with comics, like, I'm like, I already have like a specific level of what you decide to do in fanfics is like your thing because it's fanfics and like it doesn't have to match canon. Like I already have that just in general, but especially for comics, because to me there isn't really a true like full-on canon for comics because so many people work on it and it has so many different continuities and whatnot that you could write anything about any of the characters in comics and you could probably make a good claim for it. Like you could say a whole number of things about a lot of different characters and it's probably true to some extent because it was written in like this version of the comics or in that by that writer they were written like this or that. It's a lot more fluid because of how it's all done.
Of course, I have issues with the opposite side of that, where it is a person of colour, or they're disabled or something, and it gets changed.
Yeah.
I kind of have an issue with that.
Yeah.
Because it was done in so many times. Like,
yeah.
So many people, like Lawrence of Arabia, etc., that should have been from not white, like Cleopatra, were just people basically wearing makeup or whatever else, or face paint.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, if somebody is...
Or the people that were actual people playing those characters ended up being stereotyped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, a Native American did play a Native American, but it was all of those stereotypes you always see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why we on Disney Plus, Azure and I have watched Echo, which is all about a Native American woman and her dynamic with her family and everything, and it has been done pretty well. And the producers did go out and hire like over 200 Native American actors for the roles, and Maya herself, Echo, is actually deaf, like the character herself in the comics.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely I definitely agree that if a character is portrayed specifically as like a minority, then it should be kept that way instead of switching it to the other way around.
That's what annoyed me so much about what's her name? Not Adele. The singer-songwriter who made that movie about an autistic girl. I can't remember it. Sia!
Yeah.
That's what annoyed me so much about Sia, was that apparently they couldn't find the right autistic person for the job, and it's like, no, you just didn't try hard enough.
Yeah.
Like, the people that were working on Echo learned American Sign Language in order to communicate with the actress.
Yeah.
and other people. Like, it's not hard to be disability friendly. You're just being a dick.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. Yep.
Like, I get the whole idea. Like, I have this whole idea that there's the best person for the job. But, like, if you are having a person representing this disability or this mental illness, whatever the fuck, have the proper representation or
Yeah.
get the fuck out of here. I
Yeah.
don't care what your excuse is. Make it work. Or
Yeah.
don't even bother.
Yeah. It's so sad that, like, most of the time, like, pretty much most representations of, like, people with various, like, mental disabilities or things like that, like, are all usually not acted by people who have those things. Like, it's almost always somebody just acting that way. Like, even now, even with some of the shows coming out now, like, the person who's doing it is not a character that actually has.
I hate to interrupt, Anya,
Yeah.
but can we continue? Because this is making me angry.
I'm sorry. Big hugs. Big hugs. Yeah. Oh, and then also, yeah, as
I'm also autistic, Rolf, and I do care because it is a spectrum. So I'm so sick of seeing every autistic person with quotation marks in media being portrayed the same, like the fucking Rain Man, or basically Sheldon in Big Bang Theory, as this arrogant, super smart asshole.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm sick of it.
Yeah. And it does lead to, like, whenever there are characters that I feel like are autistic coded, because they don't follow that very particular, like, tropes of it.
You
Like,
don't look autistic. You don't
Yeah.
act like my 10-year-old cousin.
yeah. Like, I was talking with Rolf about this a while back, but there's a character in Ace of Diamond, which is one of my favorite, like, animes of all time, who really gets a lot of hate within the fandom for, like, and I never understood why for a long time. I was like, why do people hate this character so much? And then, like, somebody mentioned that it's probably because, like, he very much is autistic coded, and that a lot of people were probably hating on him because they didn't get that and weren't used to that and were reacting badly because of that, because of, you know, neurotypical mindsets and whatnot. And it just goes to show how, like, having it so, like, stereotyped in shows, like, ends up hurting, like, people, you know, in the long run, because people aren't going to fit into those specific, like, stereotypes. And so, like, that, and so people won't be able to, like, properly understand, and thus end up hurting people because they just don't understand, if that makes sense.
It's like what Rolf said. See, that just proves the point, is that they feel more relatable, so they're more believable, etc., rather than someone playing up the traits that they are told or think they should have.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and
Because autistic people, well,
I won't speak for all autistic people, but for myself, I get huge imposter syndrome because, am I autistic enough? Because I'm not doing something somebody else is doing. I'm not banging my head against the wall or something like that. My stimming is different. Something like that. Like, it's no wonder that mostly adult women don't get diagnosed until later in life because of all of these stereotypes. Anyway, let's move on, please.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say one last thing about what Rolf said earlier. That is, I do agree that also part of it is because of the people who typically write fanfics as well, because fanfics are typically a very female-dominated space. And that was another thing that I mentioned with when I was talking to Azure and like ranting about what that person was saying. One of the other things that I mentioned, that to say that it's more complicated than just saying, oh, fandom is this or that, was to say also that you have to look at the types of people who are writing fanfics and what they're typically like centered around. And like, maybe if fan fiction was seen as not just a thing that girls do, we would maybe have more like variations on that too. But yeah, anyways. Yeah, I think we spent an hour on that, but that's a very typical Anya stream, goes on tangents. Yes.
The hell it is.
It was a beautiful sunny April day outside. Oh, and in real life too.
Yeah.
Well, you know how sensitive I am to the cold. This is getting truly ridiculous. Norikawa got right up in his face.
Listen, just explain to me what the heck is going on, okay?
He kept his voice low, but his eyes were steely. Hana clung tightly to her father, gazing weirdly up at the two men. No, it's just... Toyama let out a long, heavy sigh of resignation. Oh! We got to the keep out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Oh, try checking the chip for that sigh. Yeah. Okay, so we're back here.
Well, you need to pay attention to that because it tells you, but it also gives you a hint about how to unlock it.
Ah, I see. Yeah, it says something about Tama doing a sigh. So Tama is apparently going to unlock a lot for us when we finally get over there. I don't think we've seen this guy at all.
There's a reason for that.
Wealth, status, honor. Why did I skip dinner? Oh no, Rolf. Get some food.
Hopefully you've got some bread for a sandwich.
None of these mean anything to me.
I mean, you're European, so you probably do.
All I want is a peaceful life, to put worry behind me, to stay calm and serene, to be free of worldly concerns. Oh, Buddhism. Free.
Booty.
Yeah, booty at any cost.
And this is a song Aya Kamiki actually made for this game.
Oh, that's awesome.
She's an actual singer that gets referenced in this, and you see her posters up in Shibuya.
That's cool. I see, Rolf. I hope you have something to at least snack on.
Well, we don't have drywall, so
Oh no.
toilet paper.
No! A cheery rhythm pumped from the CD player set up against the study wall. It was the latest hit from Anya Kamiki, the songwriter sensation who was blowing up the pop charts.
Sorry.
Oh, you go.
Yeah, some places should still be open at 10 o'clock.
Yee, some fast food and whatnot.
Well, thing is, a lot of places close earlier than it does in the US, so...
I see. Well, in the US, a lot of places close at like 10 here too, but like fast food places are usually open 24/7. Like they never close.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Ours don't do that.
Yeah.
Because we actually have laws that actually work.
Yeah, yep. Kenji Osawa reached for the stereo remote on his desktop. He ratcheted the volume up a little louder.
Well, perfect. Have an omelette.
Yee. Yeah, an omelet wouldn't be bad.
That sounds delicious.
He looks like the sort of man who'd be more interested in classical music, but in fact, he was a huge fan of the girl rock popular with middle schoolers.
Yep.
Closing his eyes, he swayed back and forth in time with the music, humming his favorite lyrics under his breath. But his movements faltered. It's no use. His voice usually soothed whatever ailed him, but today even she couldn't help. Today, Osawa was a complete wreck in both body and mind. What? Mounds of paperwork were scattered across the desktop in his study. Identify the infection route of uwuitis. It's a common family.
Here's where it gets darker. You thought it was dark already?
Oh, is this...
Haven't seen nothing yet.
Is this the, what's it called? Ebola? Is this Ebola?
Mm-hmm.
Oof. Because it was... Yeah. It looks similar, at least. And they're saying stuff like... high death rate... pain, bleeding... Yeah. All about viruses and vaccines. It had only been a week since he returned from a business trip to his company's branch office in the U.S., and he was slated to go back in another week's time. There was a truly staggering amount of work he needed to get through while he was at home.
And remember, I played this during the pandemic, so that was really interesting.
Yeah, it gave another dimension to it all.
Yep.
He picked up one of the papers, glanced at it aimlessly, then tossed it back onto the desk. Slumping back in his chair, he let out a long, deep sigh. He was in no mental state to work right now. A faint knock at the door barely roused him from his torpor. Director, may I come in? It was his vice director, Mamoru Tanaka.
Sure, the door's open.
Tanaka came into the study. It's not a great time, but... Osawa could barely make out his words. He tapped the remote, lowering the volume of the music. Tanaka continued apologetically. A call came in for the lab. They're hoping for a response to the email they sent yesterday. I'm sure they don't need it today. Oh, wait, no, that's you.
That was for
Yeah.
me. I'm sure they don't need it today.
Apparently they do need an answer as soon as possible, sir. I did ask them to give you some more time, but...
I see.
Osawa said warily.
Right then.
Tanaka dipped his head slightly and slipped out of the room. Osawa contemplated his colleague. Tanaka was a man he could truly depend on. So he traveled abroad. Did he get, like, a disease while over there? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, Domino's is over here, too.
I meant in, like, terms of Europe, because, like,
Yeah.
I know my boyfriend doesn't really have access to it, so...
I see.
Hey, Azure!
It's
We missed
Azure!
you.
Hi, Azure, I love ya! Welcome, welcome, Azure. He has enough of his own work to do. He didn't need to come here again today, but he did. They've been working in close concert ever since Osawa had gone back to Japan. Without Tanaka's support, there was no way he would be in the mindset to do any work at all right now.
I love you more!
I love you both the most, sis. Oh, heck yeah, Rolf. Though sadly it's closed.
Okay, Rolf.
Sidling up
Where
to
are
his...
you from again, Rolf? I thought you were from somewhere else.
Sidling up to his computer, Osawa opened his email program and started answering the work-related messages. He reported on his business travel expenses, offered his opinions on capital investments, requested confirmation on current medicinal stockpiles. He worked with bleak detachment. None of this meant anything to him right now. Yeah, the Netherlands.
How is it 11? What part are you in?
No, because it would be an hour later than you, right?
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock for me right now.
Oh,
So it
maybe
should be
the time
10.
change. Maybe the time change hasn't happened yet.
Then he don't whatever.
Rolf is from Clapham. Heck yeah. Then a new email appeared in his inbox. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. My boyfriend's from the Netherlands. It's 9 o'clock for me right now.
Let me see. Oh, daylight savings happened last weekend.
Yeah, for us too.
Let me see. What time is it right now?
Yeah, I know. I know how it works.
Oh, it is 10. Rolf, it's 10 p.m.
Yeah.
It's 10 p.m.
What? It's 10.
I looked it up right now. It says that right now in the Netherlands, it's 10:05 p.m.
That's why I'm confused, because for me it's 9 o'clock. So for the Netherlands, it should be 10 p.m.
Yeah, because it says Monday, April 1st, 2024, GMT +2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is, Rolf, because it's 10. Look at your phone. Because your phone will say the correct time.
Yeah. Because sometimes your PC doesn't update at the same time for some reason.
Yeah.
If you've got an older one. Yeah, there we go. I knew it. Because for me, my computer says 9 o'clock, my phone says 9 o'clock, my Switch says 9 o'clock, my PS5 says 9 o'clock.
Yeah, so it's 10 for you, Rolf. You can get food! Get some food!
Yay! Why did your stuff say all different phones?
Amazing.
Yeah, because of the time because it went an hour forward. So originally it was 8 o'clock for me, but now it's 9. So for you, it was originally 9, but now it's 10.
Stupid PC.
Yeah, so you should be able to get Domino's, dude. Go order it.
Go order right now. Get the food.
If it's open anyway, because it's Easter Monday. I don't know if you celebrate it there.
Yeah. The sender was identified simply as A.
Oh no, it's Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah, it is Pretty Little Liars. Oh my god. When I turn off adjust for daylight savings, it goes to the correct... What? That doesn't make any sense.
Has it got the wrong daylight savings on?
Oh, so I guess it was applying daylight savings twice.
That makes sense now. But anyway, go order pizza. Wow, go fuck yourself.
Because it's still open. That's why. Never talk
Well,
to me about
the
Pretty
other
Little
place
Liars.
is open, so.
Oh my gosh. The subject line read...
Would a Capsalon place be open? Because those are good. Anyway. Game.
The subject line read, 1 year ago, South Africa. The message body was blank, but there appeared to be multiple images attached. Ordinarily, Osawa would have deleted a message like this immediately, assuming that it contained some kind of virus, but the word South Africa drew his attention. Could this possibly be related to... Yeah, no, I understand, Azure. Went on for too long.
Oh god, yes. They repeat the same storylines.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good too. I can't wait for that to get more food, more Dutch food. Well, I like Indonesian, so turns out.
I get kebab, but I decided to go vegetarian this year. Understandable.
SMH. Being vegetarian in the Netherlands.
Oof.
At least you'd have plenty of cheese.
He couldn't help but to wonder. For a long moment, he hovered the cursor over one of the image files. At last, as if spurred on by the upbeat rhythm in his ears, he double-clicked the mouse. What is this? The grainy photograph showed a large room with a dozen or so people laid out in beds. This is like some, dark web stuff going on here now.
Yep.
It appeared to be some sort of medical ward. Osawa felt a strange flutter in his chest. He quickly opened another image. It also reminds me of that mockumentary Q series that I showed you guys. That's on YouTube. That, like, each of the episodes is like a mockumentary that's all, like, slightly connected and all talks about, like, different types of horror and stuff. This one showed a close-up of one of the patients in his bed. Large red blotches covered his face. A large volume of blood appeared to be dripping from his ears and nostrils. A cold shudder ran up Osawa's spine. What the hell? These symptoms... Osawa opened up the remaining image files. Each new picture showed another of the patients. They all appeared to be teetering on the brink of death. There was no doubt about it. These people were infected with the UA virus. The uwu virus.
Oh no, Rolf has it.
The uwuitis. 1. The uwuitis belongs to the family Phalidoridae, genus Uwa-like virus. It is a member of the same family as the Ebola virus, so you're correct.
I got
and it
it!
causes uwuitis fulminant hemorrhagic fever. It is capable of airborne transmission, though an infected individual cannot pass on the infection before symptoms manifest. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, have assigned the virus to Risk Group 4, the classification for the most dangerous infectious agents.
I called it! Woo! My detective skills off the charts. I looked at those images and heard the symptoms and I was like, Ebola? Maybe? I called it. Like, it's terrible that he has this, but I'm glad that I guessed it.
Well, another infection, guys. We know who did it.
But how? Questions tumbled through Osawa's mind. His fingers tapped out a quick message. He doubted he'd get a response, but he might as well try. Who are you and where are these images from? The Ual virus got its name from a Swahili word for flower.
The uwuitis 2. The virus is roughly 90 nanometers
nanometers.
to 110 nanometers in diameter and 500 nanometers to 700 nanometers long. Because of its pronounced sickle-like shape, it is sometimes known as the sickle of death. Possesses a viral envelope, the surface of which is coated with spike-shaped protein protuberances. 1 nanometer equals 1 billionth of a meter. 0.0000000. That's probably too many. 1 milliliter.
Yeah.
Mils.
Yeah.
Meters.
Yeah. Because it's pronounced sickle, sometimes known as the sickle of death. It possesses a viral envelope, the surface of which is coated with spike-shaped protein. Makes sense. I'm glad that my AP biology background is helping me understand this stuff in this video game.
Understand video games, yes.
Supposedly, this was based on the fact that the propagated form of the virus resembled the petals of a flower. Despite the flowery name, however...
Sorry. Well, hey, Persona and S&T taught me all about the Old Testament.
Heck yeah. Despite the flowery name, however, the disease was anything but pretty. Yeah, that's like another thing is like with SMT and everything like that. It's like, wow, my background in Catholicism really helps me out here.
Just background in religion in general, because all of the religions came from many sources, so...
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna get into that.
Yeah. No, like the whole point of SMT was always...
Anya, just keep reading.
Why did it just be flower and also meant to kill? And as the name suggested, the virus had a mortality rate of 100% in those it managed to infect.
Because most details regarding the uwuitis have been suppressed, cases of uwuitis infection are largely unknown to the world at large. Because all patients known to be infected with the virus on official record have died within a short time frame, the mortality rate is given as 100%. As the incidence of known cases grows, the number may drop below 100%. But the mortality rate will likely remain extraordinarily high.
Heck yeah, Azure. One day I should make an SMT podcast. I would have so much to say.
We're Anya don't even do it.
Yeah. I have so many thoughts on the SMT series and the themes and the. I've said to Azure before that I've wanted to make like one of my dreams is to one day make an AMV that contains like all SMT media and like
oh god
to show
that's
that,
a lot of media.
yeah, and to show, well, not like every, but like at least a piece from like every single like game or whatever in anime, and like to or at least
I was
most
gonna
of them.
say, because you'd have the original books as well.
Yeah. And like the whole point was like to show how, because I have like this theory. Oh my gosh, I dropped the thing. I have this theory that basically all SMT games follow a similar, like some similar themes and plot structure that kind of goes all the way back to the original Megami Tensei, and how you have like one character who's supposed to be like the Adam character and one character that's supposed to be the Eve character, and it has less to do with gender and more to do with their role within the story, kind of like a king and queen on a chessboard. And the Adam character is the character that is basically like pushed by God to like follow certain like things, and which could possibly lead to like the end of humanity as we know it. And then the Eve character is kind of the juxtaposition of that, kind of going with the idea of Milton's Paradise Lost, in that the whole reason humanity was created was because Adam chose Eve over God. When in the past with Lilith, he didn't do that. And how that led to...
Yeah, he was a real dick.
Yeah. But, like, the idea that it was... Specifically, it was the transgression that led to the creation of humanity. That we wouldn't have humanity without that transgression. That it needed to happen. And the idea is that SMT follows that same logic. So, like, for example, in the original Megami Tensei, the Adam is Nakajima. Because he's the one that's, like, his actions are being influenced by... like the deities around him, and is trying to push him into possibly leading to the death of humanity. And then Yumiko is Eve, because she's the juxtaposition of that, and the idea is in order to get a happy ending, he has to choose her over the stuff that's going on around him. And it's the same in other stories too, like and I could like put that for like each of the SMT games to some extent, of like this character's the Adam, this character's the Eve, in terms of like the storyline. And I want to make like a whole AMV that shows like those parallels, and all like using my main ships as kind of the fodder for that. And I'm sorry, I have a lot of thoughts on anyways.
Sorry. Inhaled viral particles can be spread from the lungs to the lymph nodes, and from there dispersed throughout the body. The virus propagates in several places, including liver cells, macrophages, component of the immune system, and destroys the endothelial cells within blood vessels. Upon reaching the brain, it forms a neural sludge of blood mixed with other bodily fluids. Gross.
Yeah.
That's what my brain's full of, just sludge.
Oh no! You're a smart bean, Lulu.
Smart sludge.
Oh, that's I guess how it like, is so powerful because it's also infecting the immune system as well as the regular cells in the body. Crazy.
Yeah, that's how you make the best virus in Virus Inc.
Yep. Moreover, there was a very short incubation period between infection, the onset of symptoms, and death. Within roughly 12 hours, bleeding would set in throughout the body, everywhere but the bones and muscles, with lethal results. Wow, that's awful.
Yep.
That's fast. But also, again, not a great way, like, I don't understand why a virus would mutate to this. Because this isn't very helpful for the spread of disease, because the person dies so fast. That doesn't really give a lot of time for a person to spread the disease.
Yeah, that's a huge problem in Virus Inc.
Yeah.
You can make it too infectious. You can make it too lethal to the point where the people die before they can even spread the infection.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why...
Which is when you make it so the dead bodies, when they die, the infection, like, comes out of them and spreads through the air. And it spreads that way, or you have it and you spread it to animals instead.
Yeah.
Like birds.
Yeah.
Especially birds, because they're everywhere.
Well, like what Dr. Mike did, because I watch a lot of Dr. Mike's videos. He played the, like, Plague Inc. one time. And what he ended up doing was he made the disease, like, really infectious, but not, like, deadly at first. So, like, it would spread to a bunch of people, and then he added the deadly aspect, so then it would start killing people after a bunch of people had already, like, gotten it, but without it, like, getting on people's radars until it was too late, you know? Because I love listening to Anya nerd out, heck yeah. Due to its incredibly high mortality rate, the disease's very existence had been kept hidden from public knowledge. Osawa's computer chimed to signify the arrival of a new email. The sender was A. He hurried to open the message. Once again, the subject line read, 1 year ago, South Africa.
Your crimes.
Your crimes.
Your crimes.
Osawa stared at those two words. My crimes. They left him
My
only
crimes.
with further questions. He looked again at the images from the previous email. What makes any of this my crimes? He could see that the patient's bleeding was severe. He estimated that several hours had passed since the onset of the disease. It wouldn't be long before their lives were cut short. To feel that agony, that suffering, and then to perish. Am I to blame for that? I don't know, dude. I don't know you.
Why are you trauma dumping on me, dude? I don't know you.
Well, because he was like, am I to blame for this? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. I don't know what you did in the past.
I don't know.
I don't know you. Another faint knock came at the door. Darling, do you have a moment? It was his wife, I. What? His AI wife, yeah. We love listening to Azure talk about his interests too.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm like trying to think what the best option would probably be.
Well, You don't know this guy, so...
Yeah, I don't know this guy. That's the problem. Like,
He's not Kano.
yeah, at least I know. Well, because I feel like I understand Kano on a personal level.
Yeah.
I get Kano. I understand him. I understand his struggles. He's a good being. It'll be okay. But this guy, I don't know. This guy could be anything. I don't know him. I don't know this man. I just don't know whether it's better for her to see, like, what is coming or not. Because I don't know if he's told her that apparently he's sick. I think it makes more sense for him to close the mail program, though. I feel like if he hasn't told her yet, I don't see why he would be like, yeah, you can see these bloodied images on my computer. Osawa hurriedly closed the mail program. Even if this was nothing more than some sick prank, it wasn't anything he wanted his family to see. Especially not I.
Alright, come in.
But Osawa turned to see that I had already let herself into the study. The sharp sting of her perfume made him scrunch up his face for a moment. Have you reconsidered the whole America thing? She asked. This again, Osawa thought so.
Give them all the same voice.
I don't know.
Do you only have one voice?
You know what? I'll give her this voice. Have you reconsidered the whole American thing? She asked.
Please. Can we not discuss this right now?
If not now, then when? You know this isn't a decision to just make on your own. On his latest business trip, a major American pharmaceutical firm had attempted to headhunt him, asking him to join them and be among the top researchers in the world. The money and prestige held no interest for him, and he was reluctant to turn his back on Okoshi Pharmaceutical after his many years of service.
The pharmaceutical company for which Kenji Ozawa works. It is a major corporation with a solid sales network, both domestically and internationally, and an annual turnover of 1 trillion yen. It holds patents for several medications that are in demand worldwide and is influential at the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, and other political institutions. The company employs roughly 7,000 people, including 600 researchers.
Okay, so he doesn't have the disease. He's probably, like, somewhat responsible for the disease. I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, he was intrigued by the offer. It would mean the chance to conduct his virus research in a much better funded environment. So he's basically creating viruses? Taking the job would necessitate relocating to the US, however. So is he like... Is this like bio weapons? Is this Resident Evil?
Yes. Yeah.
When he'd mentioned the possibility of immigrating to Ai, she'd shot the idea down on the spot. Her opposition was understandable. Ai's father, Suguru Makino, was a member of Okoshi Pharmaceuticals' board of directors. No way was he going to let Osawa jump ship to another company. Darling, please. I drew in closer to him. Think about it from my perspective. If you leave for America, what am I supposed to tell my father? He'd gotten so used to it, that grating whine of hers. Wow, I hate this guy. I hate him. I hope he dies.
He's the worst.
Have you considered what might happen to Akoshi if you leave, dear? Anata?
We can discuss that once this is all finished.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Freaking dislike this man.
Mm-hmm.
Osawa kept his voice as level as he could. You do remember that you're a director, right? I said. You have responsibility. Stop thinking about yourself so much. She's right. Get his ass. With a sour look, I turned and departed. Just how depressed he looks.
Yep.
Well, he had known that moving to America would never be a simple matter, regardless of what his wife thought about it. There was another reason, however, the antiviral agent that he had developed at Okoshi.
A therapeutic drug used to treat viral infections. Examples include the drugs used against influenza and HIV. These treatments do not eliminate the infection, rather they simply inhibit the development of the disease. There are still many issues with such drugs, including the risk that treated viruses possess or develop a resistance that makes the treatment ineffective. Academic institutions and pharmaceutical companies worldwide devote tremendous resources to further advancing the field of antiviral medicine.
Oh,
Which,
I see.
again, this was very, very referential during the time I played it. So
Yeah, yep. Yep. But yeah, it seemed, I'm guessing he created like an antiviral thing, and that led to like the resistance creating like a infection that was even worse than Ebola. Is what I'm guessing already. But yeah, it sucks that, like, I mean, it's good now that we have like medication that allows us to deal with bacterial infections, but yeah, when it comes to like viral infections, we're still kind of like, well, you just gotta let your body do it and hope for the best. Because viruses aren't even really alive exactly. Like with bacteria, you can kill it. Like
viruses adapt and evolve, unlike bacteria.
Well, bacteria also adapt and evolve. It's just that bacteria are more
fast.
like, well, no, it's because bacteria and viruses are like two very different things. Bacteria are basically just like human like they're like living beings like the rest of us. You can kill a virus. I mean, you can kill a bacteria.
The bacteria.
Like, what a lot of antibiotics do is it just breaks the outer shell of the bacteria, and that kills it. And when it's dead, you don't have to worry about it anymore because it's dead. Whereas a virus is not exactly, like, there's a lot of debate on whether viruses are even living beings, because all a virus is like a little tube with like some proteins on it and like renegade RNA or like strands, and that's it. That's all it is. That's what a virus is. How do you kill something like that? It's not even really alive.
You can't, not yet.
Yeah, and so basically what a virus does is it transports these renegade RNA strands and proteins to our cells in our body, and it enters our cell using like the proteins on the outside to get inside, and then uses our own cells, like the system, our nucleus and everything in there that allows like cells to like populate, like to make new cells, and uses that to create more viruses.
It's a Trojan horse.
Yeah, basically. And so it's literally using, like, it needs us to create more of it. And
That's
it's really
why
scary.
that's why the best way to treat viruses at the moment is to introduce a less powerful form of the virus to make sure our body adapts to it so it can more easily recognize it and fight it off.
Yeah, because basically one of the problems, like, when it comes to, like, dealing with viruses is the idea of, like, having our immune system know what the virus is, like, what to look for. And so that, like, the body can go, oh, so this thing that's going around with these proteins on it, that's the virus, so we gotta kill it. But this also leads to other issues, like the fact that, for example,
Autoimmune diseases.
Autoimmune diseases, because things in your body can look like the virus to your immune system, and then it'll start fighting that too because it looks like the virus to your immune system.
It'll start tapping itself, and your body can shut down because of it, because your body can send white cells to basically destroy perfectly healthy cells.
Yeah. Well, like, for example, that's one of the issues about strep throat is that you could, because the type of virus that strep throat is can kind of look like the cells in your brain. Your body can start attacking those cells, which lead to a condition known as pandas, which leads to, and it especially happens to a lot of kids, like if they have strep throat, like this can easily happen to them, which is why it's important, like if you have strep throat, to get like the medication that's been made for it to help out with the immune system reaction, because you can get like literal mental damage because of strep throat. Specifically, your body's reaction to the strep throat. But yeah, viruses are scary. They're scary.
Yep.
Anyways, after the UA virus was discovered, or the UA virus was discovered, infectious disease research facilities worldwide had thrown themselves into a top secret effort to develop a vaccine.
Vaccines function by safely introducing, a harmless or accentuated version of a virus or other pathogen into the human body. This triggers the body to produce antibodies against the pathogen, being difficult for the dangerous version to take hold.
Yep.
Which is how we ended up getting the smallpox vaccine, because Louis Pasteur or somebody noticed that the women that were milking cows were getting this form of cowpox, and he noticed that they were a lot healthier because of that, and so started injecting people with the cowpox virus, and it worked kind of the same way. And then started doing it with smallpox virus, a weaker form of it. But people have always had I can't remember what strand of DNA it is, but there have always been people who have survived disease, otherwise we wouldn't exist, like with the Black Plague and stuff, because there are people that literally do not catch any disease or anything like that, and then live on to pass on their DNA. I can't remember what strand of DNA it is where people survive, but apparently it has been found, so
I didn't know about that. All I know is that like basically vaccines are a big part of why a lot of old world diseases aren't as like prevalent anymore, But it's also why, like, a lot of diseases that were thought to have been eradicated have, like, started reappearing in recent years because people have started coming up with the dumb idea that, oh, actually vaccines are bad for you and you shouldn't take vaccines and all that stuff. And I just want to shake them and scream at them and shove their head into a wall until they get their act together. But anyways, I'm sorry, I get really mad about that. But Makino had ordered Ozawa to work on creating an antiviral agent, not a vaccine. A vaccine immunized the subject in order to prevent infection in the first place. Conversely, an antiviral agent could be used to treat patients already infected. It was a so-called wonder drug for combating the virus itself. Creating such a drug was far easier said than done. Developing the antiviral had been a long, arduous road. Ooh, soup and cheese dumplings. That sounds good.
Ooh.
Guess people want to go back to the days of 80% child mortality, yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Only after years of research had Osawa's team succeeded in identifying a substance that might qualify as an antiviral agent for UA. In theory, if it was administered during the viral's initial stages, 100% recovery could be attained. Data also suggested an 80% survival rate for patients treated shortly after the onset of symptoms. But there was a fatal flaw with the new antiviral agent. The side effects on the body were unusually potent. If it was administered in amounts beyond a certain threshold, it was linked to life-threatening complications. For a time, the research was at an impasse. It seemed that the drug had to be administered in high volume to combat the explosive propagation of the UA virus. But then Osawa had received some fortuitous news. Hokoshi Pharmaceuticals' nanotechnology branch had engineered a cutting-edge device known as the DDS.
Technology created and or operated on an extremely small scale, often measured in nanometers. There are 1 billion nanometers in a meter. Some nanotech devices are literally regulated at an atomic level. The possibilities are ever expanding in practical fields such as medicine and material science. The United States is among the world leaders in the push for research and development. They're not anymore.
Yeah.
But this was 2008, so
Yeah.
acronym for drug delivery system. Such a system administers ultra microscopic drugs capsules to a targeted area of the body.
Wait, so the US is not anymore?
I don't really know. But let's just keep going, because this part is very long.
Yeah. I mean, this is like a thing that kind of throws you for a loop, because you think, oh, this is just some fun little romp in Shibuya, like some crazy stuff is going on and kidnappings, and then all of a sudden, whoa, but here's a virus that's like killing people and causing blood to come out of their eyes and stuff, and there's nanotechnology.
Yeah,
and
just like the Mother series.
Yeah, or Resident Evil or SMT or anything else, or you start off and you're like, oh, it's this, and then nope, it actually is all of this too.
Yep.
Let me see. Yeah. I don't know, there's too much information. I can't learn all about nanotechnology in a short period of time. Oh, heck yeah, Rolf. I'm sure they're delicious. Okay. Osawa jumped on it immediately. By administering his antiviral agent with the nanotech DDS, he was able to use smaller amounts of the drug to quash the UO virus with precision. Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Because a DDS can be used to deliver a drug with pinpoint precision, and only where it is needed, it can greatly reduce the side effects of even very potent drugs. The DDS was developed by Okoshi Pharmaceutical, utilizes advanced high-tech polymers, which ensure that the capsules containing the drug are fully broken down and eliminated from the body roughly 1 week after administration.
That's cool. That's cool. The procedure was a huge success. There was a marked increase in the drug's efficacy, along with the expected decrease in adverse side effects.
A pharmaceutical is said to have a positive effect if its use brings about the desired results from treating a medical condition, but many drugs create unwanted or unforeseen adverse effects as well, just as by antidepressants.
Yep.
Given the extreme complexity of most drugs' interactions with the human body, nearly any medicine can have both positive and negative effects.
Yeah, just like with anything else, and Dr. Mike always says this as well, that it's always a balance. Like, you can't have one thing without another, and basically, anytime you're dealing with a medicine, you always have to weigh the pros and cons of it, of like, does the pros outweigh the cons? And if the pros outweigh the cons, then you go for it. And
do you want to be happy or do you want to be horny?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the idea is that you have like if you're taking a medicine, it's probably going to have both positive and negative effects if it's something that actually works. Anytime you hear somebody say like this medicine or this like health thing or whatever will heal you with no adverse side effects, immediately discredit them. Like yeah, that's bullshit. It's not true. It's just not true. There's no such thing.
You clearly haven't tested it properly.
Yeah, or what it probably is.
Or you're selling me snake oil.
Yeah, it's basically like a placebo or something. Like maybe it helps people because they think it helps or whatever, but in reality, it's not actually doing anything. Because a thing that works is going to have both positive and negative effects. Because our human bodies are complex systems that are trying with all its might to stay on a very particular balance of conditions, and any little thing is going to upset that balance, and that includes literally everything. As I was saying last night, like even oxygen, like you need oxygen to breathe, but oxygen also hurts the cells in your body at the same time. And that's the same with anything else. And since we're all different people with different bodies that work in different ways, you're going to get different side effects and different like interactions. And that's how it is. And that's what makes it all very complicated. So whenever somebody says, this thing is 100% gonna work for you, this works for everybody, immediately go, no, it does not. No, it does not. You're a liar. Not true.
Yep.
Anyways, hi Owen, welcome to the stream. How's it going? Yeah, understandable, Rolf. Understandable. Makes sense. Yeah, DDS has been developed yet. Yeah. I have no idea. I don't know anything about nanotechnology, really. Definitely something I would like to look more into. The effects have been confirmed via animal testing on monkeys, and now the antiviral was ready for the final development stages, clinical trials on humans. Oh my gosh, why do I keep doing that?
Experiments including drugs or medical techniques tested on animals to confirm their safety before they are used in humans. The 1964 Declaration of Helsinki, which lays out ethical standards for human experimentation, advocates responsible animal testing, but many animal rights advocates regard such testing as a form of animal cruelty. Because it kind of is.
Yeah.
But let's not get into that.
Yeah.
When a new drug has been prepared for government approval after it's been tested on animals, it must pass tests on humans, clinical trials, that evaluate its safety and suitability. Such tests are frequently conducted on both patients and healthy individuals. In Japan, the development of new drugs is often hindered by insufficient legal infrastructure for conducting clinical trials, resulting in a smaller knowledge base and fewer opportunities for testing.
But the very existence of this new wonder drug was still a secret. No doubt Okoshi's leadership would be reluctant to see Osawa, the drug's lead researcher, transferred to another company. Still, it wasn't completely outside the realm of possibility. Once the antiviral was out of development and announced to the public, Osawa would be free and clear. For that very reason, he was loath to cause any friction over the drug right now. The anxiety only magnified his concern about the email he just received. Osawa called up Tanaka over the intercom.
There's something I want to show you. Could you come in here?
He needed a second opinion. Tanaka could be relied upon. Not your own wife, whose father is one of the medical directors. I guess she doesn't know anything.
She's only the daughter, doesn't mean she would.
Oh, that is true. Osawa opened the door the moment Tanaka knocked. He looked around before ushering his vice director inside.
Plus, that doesn't mean that her father would know anything either.
Yeah, that is true. What is it about, sir? I don't remember what voice I gave him.
This.
Osawa showed him one of the images. Oh, from skimming the wiki page, it seems nano DDS does exist, but they take a long time to develop. Also, the most effective ones are also toxic. Yeah. Yep,
Yeah.
as it usually is.
It's early days.
Yeah. Osawa showed him one of the images. Tanaka's face went pale. It can't be. Tanaka clearly recognized the symptoms of the UA virus.
Any idea what this is about?
No, sir.
These images were just emailed to me. The subject line says 1 year ago, South Africa.
That would put it around the same time as the most recent run of infections, wouldn't it, sir? But that information isn't... Tanaka trailed off. Osawa nodded.
The thing I don't understand is why these pictures were sent to me.
Osawa opened the other email from A.
The second message I got says these pictures are my crimes.
I'll look into this on my end, sir, Tanaka said. He hesitated uncomfortably. Sir, just to make sure
Are you asking about what I think you're asking about?
Tanaka gave a slight nod.
Understood. Don't worry. I won't trouble you.
I appreciate that, sir. Visibly relieved, Tanaka left the study. Osawa brought up a folder marked uwuitis on his screen. Within the folder were enlarged images of the virus itself. He double-clicked to one of the images. It blew up on the monitor to reveal the pathogen in intricate detail. A specimen of the uwuitis was approximately 100 nanometers in diameter. 10,000 of them in a line would take up barely a millimeter, but a single tiny virion upon entering the human body could become 2,000 in an hour. The speed of multiplication was nothing short of astounding. Even the Ebola virus had a typical incubation period of 7 days or so before infectees developed symptoms.
A virus of the family Filoviridae that causes Ebola hemorrhagic fever. Currently, 5 categorized species are known. Ti forest, Sudan, Riston, Zia, and Bundibugo. Probably. Ebola is widely known for its high mortality rate, 53% for the Sudan form, 88% for the Zaire. But the Reston variety, discovered in monkeys that have been brought to the US, has displayed no pathogenicity in humans.
For influenza, it was 1 or 2, but the onset of the Ua virus happened in a mere 12 hours. Osawa viewed an image slideshow of the virus's propagation mechanism. It was a fascinating sight, no matter how many times he looked at it. Viruses exist to multiply, nothing more. They had no motives, no driving logic, nothing but simple multiplication. To Osawa, that fact held a certain air of mystery. If viruses had emotions, how would they feel about their lives? He had thrown himself into virus research in search of answers to questions like that, answers that no man could truly know. His development of the antiviral agent had really been nothing more than another job responsibility. He felt no particular sense of duty to protect people from a killer virus. He was just happy for the chance to play around with you day after day. Wow, this guy is awful. Yeah. I don't... Whoever this A is, they're a hero for calling it out.
Right.
Another email arrived in his inbox. Osawa furrowed his brow as he scanned the message. I can't believe he actually has a wife and everything when he's like this.
They usually do. Remember, even evil have loved ones.
Yeah. I don't really like it in this context. Emergency alert. Come to Heaven Publishing ASAP. If not, someone is going to die. Minoru Minorikawa. Heaven Publishing? Minoru Minorikawa? Okawa wasn't familiar with either of those names. So yeah, how did this get there? You wonder if it was related to the mysterious emails he received earlier. Or maybe the sender had some information about the kidnapping? The fact that the message had been signed with a real name instead of a pseudonym along with its obvious urgency certainly gave it an air of truth. What is going on here? And
You'll find out.
Someone is going to die filled him with a wave of panic. Maria! There was no time to race. In a rush, he found directions to Heaven Publishing on his computer, then slipped out of the house. It took a good while to find his way to the multi-tenant building. The signs in front showed that Heaven Publishing occupied the 3rd and 4th floors. Osawa took the elevator to the 3rd floor. He peeked inside the offices there only to find the entire place empty. The 4th floor was likewise deserted. Oh, snap. There was a rope dangling from the ceiling, tied off into a noose. It all seemed rather sinister, but Osawa had no idea what it meant. He waited a good 30 minutes, anxious the whole time. The half hour turned to an hour, and then to 2. Wow, he's just hanging out here! It seemed that no one was gonna turn up. Osawa headed back to the 3rd floor. He decided to wait there. Dude, what? By now, he was committed. The extra hour turned into 2.
It's changed light as he's been sitting there.
Yeah, exhausted, he dozed off in his chair. And when he came to, it was close to sundown. Sunset or... Oh, wait, no, that's you.
Sunset already?
He gazed out the window, the haze of sleep still clinging to his mind. He had a feeling he was forgetting something important, but the sight of the sun quietly setting over the cityscape made the crisis of life feel strangely distant. The time of peace and quiet he had longed for was right here. Guessing dead end, yeah.
Yep. Escape from reality. Oh, the good gravity. A mysterious email told Osawa to go to Heaven Publishing, but there was nobody there. This email sent by Minoru, of course. At around 11:30, he blasted out an email to all the reporters he knew, but in his hurry, he screwed up one of the addresses, which coincidentally delivered a copy of the message to Osawa. Obviously, this never would have happened if Minoru hadn't rushed out that email.
Yep. Wee.
Wee. But it did end up in a funny ending.
Yeah.
But you can't do that yet. So.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't even see that scene yet. Oh, but there's still this, though. But I'm guessing... We definitely need to continue next time with Tama, but I think for now, I'm gonna call it, because it is past 5.
Yeah.
But yeah. I am loving this game so far. It's very good.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, obviously.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to play more of this next time. Hopefully with everybody here in the call. Hopefully crossing our fingers. Believing in the dream.
Yeah. Hopefully Rolf gets over his uwu virus.
Let's hope it's nothing like the uwuitis virus.
Yep.
But, yeah, so let's see who we shall raid. Thanks, Lulu, for hanging out in the call, and thanks, Rolf, for dropping by in chat. I love you both very much.
And Azure and Owen.
Yeah. Thanks to Azure and Owen for dropping by as well. I love you both. Let's, raid... Oh, there's a lot of people live right now, actually. But let's raid Adam, who's playing Graveyard Keeper. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time for more of this, and also Saturday, of course, for more Stardew, which I'm excited for. No, that's not you. No, I was not. I'll fight you, Azure. I'll fight you. For real, for real. You are definitely here, and we love you very much. I'm very glad to have you here.
Azure is here already all along.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. Anyways, thank you guys all for joining. I love each and every one of you guys so much, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye!
Bye-bye! Hopefully Anya's computer won't restart next time. We'll lose a lot of time.
Yeah, that was crazy. Why?
Bye-bye.